Welcome in, everybody, to another episode of The Right Stuff, a Blood Bowl podcast brought to you by Empire Games, coming out of sometimes lovely, always stunting Anderson, South Carolina. I am back. We're back to talk some little bit of Secret League, a lot of Season 3 edition.
Yeah, we've got a Wii Warriors recap for everybody.
Also true.
As well. You unfortunately missed out on the festivities, but
yes.
I also made a note here that we also played a game somewhere in there, and that was probably one of the least exciting things for us to talk about on the podcast of all the other bevy of stuff to talk about. So
yeah. Spoiler alert, there are no spoilers. It's kind of happened. But yeah. So yeah, we'll just blast through these recaps, and then we'll get to some Wii Warriors talk.
Yeah, I think the Secret League at this point, I guess just an update. If you get primarily get your news for the Secret League through the podcast, we have a date for Season 3 now. I guess we should have led with that. That's really the lead. Mm-hmm. Is that Season 3 launches November 15th, which means the Secret League's days are actually officially numbered now. The current plan, we'll make a full announcement once it's fully gestated, but the current plan is the next league starts end of November, maybe even have pairings up on around week 1 of the new era starts Black Friday. And then the Secret League will run until the new league. And a lot of it kind of depends on tour play updates. And we don't know. I imagine tour play probably gets updated pretty fast. But we're looking at 4 more weeks of Secret League segueing directly into the new league. That way, while everybody's at maximum hype, we just jump right in. Mm-hmm. So,
yeah. Yeah, so maximum hype for Season 3, moderate amount of hype for the Secret League.
Yeah, I'm still enjoying the Secret League for sure.
Yeah.
But it's one of those where it's hard to focus on the Secret League with all of these like Christmas presents right under the tree. So
right. Yeah, so a couple of games we can kind of highlight. Do want to bring up one game from Week 4 rematches. Oh, the Horrors and Touchdown Town Clowns. It was a 1-1 draw. Justin getting on the board.
Yeah.
Touchdown there.
Yeah, and he's been looking for some practice games, so anybody who's got some free time and wants to help him out, I would say hit him up, because he's trying to develop his skills. We've seen players like Justin before be in that I'm a new player and I'm getting prison yard initiated all the time. And they just like drop out of the league, but Justin has decided to stick with it, and I applaud that. It's not Blood Bowl is not a game that is welcoming to every single play style necessarily.
Right.
you have to have like a little bit of masochism in you to get past that initial welcome to the game, get punched in the stomach. Mm-hmm. So
yeah. We had another draw for Will here against Shieldwall and the Savage Orc team, which that team is really good. So
yeah,
like, you know, that's kind of been a story. I think that Savage Orcs are a team that initially, like, looking over the teams in Secret League, I was like, this one's like not super exciting to me, but it's just generically good.
Yeah, you didn't listen to last week, but I complained about the team a little bit because I think the team is underpriced. I'm not gonna like go at length about the balance of the Secret League teams. I think ultimately they're mostly balanced. I think the thing with the Savage Orc team is if your opponent is naturally good at rolling 9s, then the team probably just falls apart. Mm-hmm. But if your opponent is really good at rolling 7s with Mighty Blow or rolling 8s, then it's like the team has no downside. So,
yeah. Let's see. Other games were happened. We had our game, the Ethical Vampires and Rat Bashers. Yeah, that was like...
It was a relatively bloodless affair.
Yeah, for sure.
Considering how many blocks resulted in people on the ground. And honestly, it was a game where I think both players succeeded most of the rolls that they made. Mm-hmm. Right. The only like, and I count a push on a block as a success. Right. It's not a failure. Mm-hmm. Right. And I think the major advantage that I had in that game was that I had a little bit of guard, which meant 4 strength pieces, and a little bit of guard means I don't have to get too crazy with getting enough assists to 2-die the ball and chains, the sensor bearers, and so being able to just put them on the ground, that's half the battle against them.
Yeah, and that's like, I think the thing that I was like running into is, I think early on in the game, like you took them all, like 2 off in the first 2 turns, and I think like there's a world where after that first one, after Fungus gets taken off, I think there's a world where I could like possibly try to punish and kind of like close in from the sides, but just like the ball and chain did not cooperate. So they kind of got stranded apart from each other, couldn't get back in, and then another one got picked off.
Right. And then it's easy to dodge one ball and chain. You can usually just kind of make sure that the fight happens away from just one of them. Mm-hmm. All 3, I thought it was really funny how the first one that you rolled just like danced around the zombie that I put in front of him.
Right.
And then Fungus was like 4 for 4 on slamming into the zombie and just pushing him around the field.
Yeah.
And then the other ball and chain performed, fine. It like whiffed the first shot, but like hit the next 2 or whatever. And that's the thing about the ball and chain. Sometimes the right play is just get them off the pitch and then worry about whatever is happening to the board afterwards.
Yeah.
I think it's another one of those where, do you regret not putting Bomber in on the first drive? So here's my rationale. Mm-hmm. For me to knock down the ball and chain, I have to put a bunch of people together. Mm-hmm. And so there were multiple times where I had just like 4, 5, 6 models all in one spot, and that would have made for some like premium bombing.
Mm-hmm. Like that was a thought. I think my thought process on it was, I did not think that I felt like you were gonna just plan on getting away from the ball and chains and just kind of like, putting kind of like screening stuff off a little bit and just like leave the vampires in the back and like force me, since I was receiving, you'd like force me to come up. I'd have to get close enough to a vampire at some point to score, and you would just kind of like play cagey with the vamps and then eventually come in, swing the ball, and take it. So I wasn't expecting to get like great hits off Bomber in the first half, whereas I think like if I could get into the second half, I'd be okay with like...
He's better. I think he's much better in defense, and I actually think he's much better against this particular vampire team because I lack the speed and the agility that the other vampire team has, right? Like, I think you can... with regular vampires, it is so easy to just make a beeline for Bomber, right?
Yeah.
You have to, like, if you're using Bomber on offense, you have to protect the ball from the vampires, and then you have to also protect Bomber. And it's really hard to have enough players left over to like, screen both of those off. Yeah. And if you protect your Bomber the wrong way, you set yourself up for the bomb to detonate multiple players of your own, right? Yeah. There were a lot of things that worked out well in that game, for sure. And I would not have changed the script for that game for very much, other than maybe getting a couple more casualties in there. Mm-hmm. I'll take no permanent damage to my team for, 1 casualty or whatever.
Yeah. Yep. I guess other game happened. I had a doubleheader that day, so I had to play the Crab team against the Blaviken Bloodhounds, the Corn team, which he was very excited to get the Bloodspawn on the pitch, and then I picked it up with my big meaty claw and threw it to the casualty box. But yeah, that was just like a game that's... I really do enjoy the Nautican team.
It's a cool team. I'm pretty happy, 1, with the development, and 2, with the theme of the team. So yeah,
it's been fun to play. if that was an option for Wii Warriors, I would have done anything in my power to come up and play that team. For that.
I think the problem is that the Ignibrites aren't technically stunty, right?
That's fine.
They're like a wacky positional.
Yeah, close enough. So other games. Another game I want to call it is Serial Killers in Bofa. I was watching this game for a little bit, and I think shout out to Jeremy, kind of figuring out some more of the like strategic plays with that Flash Golem team. I think that team's like kind of moving along now, and being able to kind of prioritize, like, I know where I need to set up my blocks, or I know when to like make a dive on the ball and how to protect the ball. I think that's like things that he's shown improvement on, and he was able to take a game I think that could be a problem, where it's like you're playing like moved 4 pieces against a bunch of gutter runners, and Fred was able to score early, but Jeremy was able to tie it up and keep him from scoring again.
Yeah, Jeremy was doing some damage. I caught like a little bit of that game myself. Jeremy was doing some damage, which I think is that's the skill that new players, and I think some of the players in our league that haven't quite gotten past that initial bump into the game need to like hone the ability to like hurt the other person's team, right? Make them feel the fact that, you know, like if you're trying to stall the whole half, making the opponent like regret, like thinking, oh, I got to put this ball in, otherwise I'm going to lose like another player or lose a player a turn, something like that. That's the that I think is some of the difficult stuff to do. I think Jeremy's done a pretty good job of it with this Flesh Golem team. Now, I did watch him roll triple skulls, so my first advice would be don't roll triple skulls when you're rolling 3-die blocks. But I do applaud him from rolling 3-die blocks to begin with, because I think, especially against something like the Gutter Runner team where there's a lot of dodge, and you probably didn't have time to develop block on every single piece, and you probably don't have tackle really anywhere on the team, getting that 3rd die really helps your chances of knocking people over. And that's one of those, that's how you hurt players, is getting those extra dice on blocks.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think that's like most of the games we wanted to cover this week. Obviously, we had some more, but we got a lot to talk about, so we're gonna push through. I do want to talk about our Emma Warrior segment for the week, though. So we had a journeyman for the touchdown down clowns, which is honestly, if someone's gonna die,
you wanted it to be the journeyman.
Then for the Railroad Warriors, so Scott lost Anders, who was a lineman, and Acorn the squirrel. Then lastly, we had Jaren, a Nurgling for the Pestilent Party Makers, which is one of those stunty players that will just die a lot.
Yeah, right. It's not a surprise when stunty players die. Mm-hmm. They don't also necessarily die at the rate that you think they should, but it's not a surprise when they die. They are the most fragile players. So. Yeah.
Speaking of the death of stunty players, we got Wii Warriors.
Oh, yeah.
So we can just hop right in.
I love the fact that Wii Warriors is in tour play this year, which means we can just go back and take a look. This we chatted about it a little bit last week, but it's fine to do like a recap real quick. And shout out David Beatty. He pulls out the stops when it comes to swag. And there were teams. There was like a fully painted evil halfling team, just a peek inside someone's dark psyche there. There were some cases, there were some 3D printed dice cups that were really sturdy and were like themed for each of for a bunch of different teams. There's like a vampire one and a Norse one, and so a bunch of door prizey kind of stuff that you had a pretty good chance of walking away with something there. And there was a lot of swag. And the tournament was mostly used to raise money for local feline rescue. And anybody who's ever dealt with wildcats know that you can end up with dozens of wildcats if you're not like helping control the population.
Yes.
So
yeah. Side note: look into your local TNR programs.
Yeah.
Definitely, it's good for everyone. It's good for the cats. It's good for your local wildlife ecosystems.
Yeah. Right. Cats are
everything.
probably responsible for like most of the extinctions in the United States, something like that. Like they, anyway, it was a good time. It was definitely a rule set for sickos. I stated that as much before, and I named my team the Sicko Squad, and even used the Onions sicko outside the house to represent my team in tour play. And so let's real fast. Let's go through. We had, where are the statistics? I need the list of who was in this. So you had 1 stunty lizards. You had 1 stunty black orcs. You had 1 halfling, 1 underworld, 2 ogres, 3 goblins, 3 gnomes, and snotlings. 4 snotling teams. So fairly decent spread of stuff, I'd say. And I was afraid the tournament was just going to be all snotlings and goblins. But I ended up 2-1 on the day. My first round was a loss to Juan, who went on to win the tournament. There were 2 undefeateds, but Juan got it on tie breaks. And the 2 undefeated teams were snotlings, which is not really a surprise. But round 1, the weather, the way the weather was handled for the tournament is that the TO rolled weather and everybody was affected by it. So round 1, the weather was very sunny, which was a nightmare for my bomber. I actually wanted the bomber versus snotlings because I think it's a way to rack up a bunch of snotling kills. And I think I threw 1 bomb that landed and affected any number of snotlings throughout the whole game. And so I think I misvalued the bomber in against Juan versus my chainsaw. My chainsaw went ape. The chainsaw was responsible for 2 stunty deaths. Then I had a biased ref on my roster, and Juan fouled the chainsaw twice to try to get it off the pitch. And the biased ref caught both of the snotlings who fouled him. So at that point, the chainsaw is responsible for like 4 snotlings out of the game, which is a pretty good kill-death ratio compared to the average player versus snotlings. And I scored first, and I managed to keep Juan out of the end zone. But in the second half, Juan went for like a low percentage throw teammate play and just like made all of the rolls, no reroll needed, and scored. And so we're at 1-1. And then we set up for the next drive, and Juan rolls blitz. And so I start my drive with a snotling holding the ball in my backfield. And so I used the throw teammate to pick up the snotling with the ball and throw it, and it didn't successfully land. I was trying to throw it out of bounds, but the snotling doesn't successfully land. Splats, the ball comes out. I managed to recover it with a goblin, and then I end up over the next 3 turns I failed like my first or second dodge, and every failed dodge was an armor break on the goblin, and the goblin leaving the game, KOs or casualty or something like that, and I frittered away my chance to actually win the game there, and so Juan took it down 2-1. I went for like a throw teammate on the final turn, but Ripper got KO'd and he didn't come back from KO, so I had no way to actually try to score in 1 turn. So that was that. And then I spent the next 2 rounds tabling gnome players. I got to receive in those games, and so that is a terrible matchup for gnomes, because the gnomes don't actually want the opponent to use dirty tricks on them. They're too fragile, and gnomes want to get in there and mix it up with you, right? They want to throw blocks. They want you to be throwing blocks because they've got a lot of like dodge, wrestle, stuff like that. And goblins are like, well, here's a chainsaw, right? You're armor 7. The foxes are armor 6.
Yep.
You know, and so you cut through that paper thin armor. Once you take enough tackle zones off the pitch, then the trees, you can make short work of the trees. Ripper was insane during the course of the game. Ripper just bullied. Sean had a triple tree list. He did 2 trees and Maple, and Ripper just bullied Maple the whole game because it was Ripper's 6 strength to Maple's 5, and so it was just Maple would stand up, Ripper would put Maple back on the ground, and then in the second half, I started getting fouls on the trees reliably, and that eventually peeled them. And so, yeah, and the Nate game went somehow even better than that. So I ran the score up on the gnome players. I ended up walking away from the tournament with the most touchdowns, which is funny because I did not set out for that. Was not expecting that. I didn't have the Pogor, didn't have the Doom Diver. It was just regular goblins picking up the ball and running into the end zone. So
nice. Yeah, I think like looking at the stats for this, so you had 24 total games.
Yeah.
197 casualties.
Yeah. So keep in mind that the casualties, like if you used the throw teammate, because one of the special rules for the tournament was you could throw teammate the opposing player once a half.
Yeah.
If that resulted in a casualty, that was a casualty for you. Fouls were casualties. Yeah. Bombs were like the any mayhem was a casualty, and so those stacked up quick in this because there were so many dirty tricks.
Yeah. So it's like 24 games. You've got assume full rosters excluding like Riotous rookies or whatever. That's 16. You're looking at like.
I mean, I'm looking at some of these teams. Some of these teams took double-digit casualties.
Yeah.
And like most teams actually took double-digit casualties, right? Even the Caleb, the player who got second place, he took 22 casualties during the course of the event, right?
Yeah.
So lots of damage done.
Yeah. So like if you're assuming, right? If you assume every team averaged out to a 16-man roster, that's like a quarter of. It's like some massive amount of players ended up casualty at some point in this game.
Yeah.
And always. So this like just a bloodbath. Like I said, total sicko behavior. Yep.
For sure. Yeah, it was who knows what this tournament looks like next year.
Yeah.
I hope Beatty enjoyed running it. I think the feedback from most people was that they had fun in the event despite the fact that they're trapped in a cage with a bunch of stunty players. Yeah. But I think people had fun with the format, and it's one of those where you've got the shadow of the third edition looming over you, and so it's like really hard to go into that tournament and take it too seriously.
Yeah, well, speaking of shadows of third edition, the shadow is quickly being illuminated, and we're getting the full picture. We have a fuller picture now than we did, just last week. So we're gonna take a quick break here and then come back and talk all about some star players and some of the rules updates we've seen so far.
There's a lot of tidbits to work.
Okay, we're getting tons of information. Obviously, this past week we've gotten the confirmation of the official release date of the third season edition. But even before that, we got some rules, like more previews and updates into what the new rosters are going to look like as far as the Bretonians and the Tomb Kings.
Right. So last week we recorded right after that big update article came out. Hot on the heels of that was the Bretonian article and the Tomb Kings article. And then the last couple of days we've been, and the whole time we've been seeing star player cards get leaked. And now we had another article today talking about people who are like excited to see like which teams, in the next edition to play. So lots of stuff to infer from that, right? Mm-hmm. And so that's what we're here to do. We're here to rampantly speculate within the confines of information that we do know.
Yeah, to be clear, obviously, if you're following a lot of the speculation on other platforms, like on social media, just in general, people are starting to post things that they're claiming are like leaks of rules or just other kind of speculation on these things. People who are saying their uncle works at Game Workshop or something like that type of speculation, and we're not going to be commenting on any of that just because we're working with what we have seen here officially from Games Workshop, because I think that is, so far, I think honestly that's like been the most interesting thing, and there's enough to kind of speculate on from there to give us a whole show and then some.
Yeah, for sure. I think there's a lot of. I mean, right now that we're lost in the woods, right? Mm-hmm. Whatever the dark woods theory is, we're just wandering around, finding tidbits of information here and there, right? And every official release from GW gives you more and more to confirm. Now, in about a week, maybe a little bit more, there's a good chance that none of this will be like a mystery anymore. There's like a leaked dwarf team out there, and all those changes are plausible, but I'm not until I get like confirmation that is what it looks like. I'm not going to really work off of that operative, that operation right there. Yeah. So, but the Bretonnians, they didn't give us gold costs, but the Bretonnians seem really good out of the box.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, looking at the knights, you've got like the 3 different types of knights.
They all have dauntless.
All with dauntless, and we got the official wording or pseudo-official wording of the steady footing skill, which is the wording that we got from the website is: whenever this player would be knocked down or fall over, roll a d6. On a 6, this player does not get knocked down or fall over. If this happens during their activation, they may continue their activation as normal and no turnover will be caused. So I think when the steady footing skill got teased in the first article about the Bretonnians, there was a speculation, at least for me, on what constitutes steady footing coming into play. Is it just being knocked over on a block? Is it failing a dodge? Is it failing a rush?
It's all of those.
Yes, from the wording we see here, yeah, it is all of those.
Yeah, which actually is crazy because it's a way to get an out during your own activation, right? Mm-hmm. You fail a go for it if you first off you need not a 1, and then you get another roll where you can fish for a 6. And I'm assuming you could probably use pro with this too. So you could be in a situation where you have like no re-rolls, but you're still getting a bunch of rebuys at hits on staying upright, mm-hmm. which is awesome. People were running the numbers on like dodging into a cage with that, right? You can dodge into a cage, and like as long as you can hit like a 6 and like 3 dice, then you're in, right? And that's about 50% or so.
Yeah. Yeah, and other thing too, obviously these Grail Knights that have that ability also remove at 7. So you compare them to like the better of the human blitzers that exist in the game already. It's like look at like the nobility blitzers. Obviously, like these ones don't have catch, but there are knights that do have catch.
Yeah.
So there's gonna be these guys are gonna. In the article, it mentions that like these are your blitzers, these are your people that are doing blocks, and they're set up very well for that. You can put them in situations where they might have a shot to get knocked over, but then all of a sudden, just like randomly, you randomly roll that 6, and they're still standing there, and you're causing problems.
Did they say that these guys have armor 10?
These are armor 10.
Yeah, so 7 speed armor 10. I think that's the fastest armor 10 piece in the game. That isn't like a star player, right? And that stat line, so if it's 3 strength and 3 plus agility, maybe they aren't 3 plus agility, but I don't know. But if that is the case, then they have one of the most aggressive stat lines in the game. And I believe that this model would immediately enter the pantheon of players in discussion for best player in the game right away, right?
Yeah, I agree.
Block, Dauntless, Steady Footing, 7 Speed, Armor 10. The piece is everywhere on the board. It's going to be annoying to actually take off the table, right? Honestly, once it's on the ground, I don't fault anybody for fouling a Grail Knight from this point forward, right? Because you don't want the guy to stand back up because you're not guaranteed you're going to be able to put him back down on the ground again. Right?
Yeah, it's one of those things you got to make use of the opportunities when you get them.
Yeah.
Look at these other knights too. So the knight catchers are also movement 7. They have 3+ passing, and catch, and also dauntless. Like all these knights are going to have dauntless on them. But yeah, it's like so. Catchers keeping up with that. That's a similar stat line to the Imperial Blitzer. Like this one might not have as high armor. They don't mention that it has high armor. So
yeah, but Dauntless gives you a way to beat your way into open territory. It gives you out. That was like one of the things with the Valkyries, right? Like a lot of these players are going to play very similar to Valkyries on Norse, and Valkyries are like my favorite players on Norse. They're the player that never lets you down.
Yeah.
They've always got something that'll bail you out of a situation.
Yeah. So the throwers are the ones with the 3+ passing. So it's like they have 3+ passing with pass. So it's
serviceable.
Yeah, it's like your Amazon thrower.
It's workman.
It's fine. But the fact the catcher and thrower both have nerves of steel.
Yes.
Alongside Dauntless, like there's so much going on with these players.
They can be in the thick of a fight, and you can hand off in a scrum. So yeah, I mean, I think that's I think they're going to be really good. Yeah, it's just going to be a good team. You got Wrestle on the lineman.
Yeah, lineman also solid. Like
even if they're armor 8, the only way I think you can make the Wrestle lineman balanced. Now, I suspect this team is going to be expensive.
Right.
Like, you're probably paying 120 for Grail Knights. You'll be happy to, but you're going to be paying through the nose for them.
Yeah.
But if your team is like 2 Grail Knights, a thrower, and a bunch of Wrestle linemen, and you plan on adding the other knights to the team as you go, that's probably fine.
Yeah.
I think you're probably happy with that.
Yeah. It's like you don't have to... I think one thing to consider with a lot of teams as you're developing the team is like, how many rerolls am I going to have to spend getting this player to a place where they're serviceable? And like Nerves of Steel and Catch makes it so you're not going to have to, like if you add a catcher later in the season, like you're not going to have to, it's not as scary because it's like, okay, well I'm just catching on a 3 like with a reroll.
Did they say that all of the knights are armor 10?
That has not been confirmed.
Okay.
So
if the catcher and the thrower are like armor 9, then they'll be, they're not like pushovers, but they're not like an orc or a dwarf where you don't have a problem basing people because the odds of you getting hurt are so low. I mean that's the real measure for bringing players onto a team is like how much they can contribute as fast as possible with what they have printed on the page. And those catchers, they really present a problem. It's because they've got the Elven Union ability to just hang out in the opponent's backfield, and you can't just commit like one person to that to throw off the numbers. You need to like wedge them in, otherwise they just catch the ball and dodge away. So
yeah, that team gonna be great.
A lot of people want to play Bretonians, and I don't fault them. I'll have to wait my turn. It's gonna be like Necro. I'm going to be waiting like 6 seasons to play Bretonians because you're going to have like 3 or 4 Bretonian teams in every single season for the foreseeable future.
Yeah. Up next, we got our other team that's going to be coming in this 3rd edition box, the Tomb Kings. So this one, obviously, we had some existing stats to work off of, but the players are getting some updates. obviously this brawler on the Tomb Guardians being the sort of new addition.
Yeah, it's a buff. It's a nerf by buffing, and I tend to like that strategy. If you're gonna like change something, making it better, making the team worse by making something better on the team and then compensating the points wise is that's a fun way to do it, because that way it's not just you losing stuff, right? It feels a lot better to say, oh, my guys now have brawler. Now that does make those Tomb Guardians. Now here's the thing: when I played against Tomb Guardians, and I've ranted about this at length in person and on the podcast. I don't know that Tomb King coaches know how to roll skull both down with their Guardians anyway. So I don't know that brawler is going to help them. They just roll the POW. They just roll push POW every single time they throw a hit with the Tomb Guardian. Anyway, they've got some upside now when they're throwing hits. They're a little bit more reliable at knocking people over, and they're a little bit less of an idiot when they're throwing hits.
Yeah.
So I think that certainly makes the team better. Making the Tomb Guardians cost more, I think, is definitely appropriate, because that team could just take everything.
Yeah.
It got all the pieces it wanted.
Yep.
And so Tomb King's 4 tournament play, they had a lot of viable builds. And I think making the Guardians more expensive goes a long way to making that team have to make choices as to what to include on the roster.
Yeah. Obviously they have Decay on the Tomb Guardians still. But one thing I will note in looking at this, obviously there was some confusion when they initially put this article out, because there was some poor wording where people thought Decay was changing. It's not. It's staying the same.
It's exactly the same. You're more likely to die during the course of a season with Decay.
Yeah.
It's basically a niggling injury, right?
Yeah.
So you're more likely to die because of Decay. The damage will most likely be more permanent.
Right.
They've got regen to offset that, but
yeah,
you got to get hurt in the first place, and you got 5 strength and 10 armor. So that's the major thing with Tomb Kings is how durable the team is.
Yep.
Really, did anything else change? They didn't mention anything else.
I don't think anything else changed. The thing I will say about Decay, though, is if you look at it on the website, it's listed as in parentheticals next to it as passive. Whereas if you looked at the ruling for Steady Footing, that's considered active. So I think that might be, obviously, one of the things they talked about in their early articles is this keyword system for different things. So I'm wondering if active versus passive is a way to keyword skills that you always have, which would be a passive thing, that's just always existing.
Yeah.
And active is only if you are not distracted or prone.
Yeah.
Things like that.
Right. So a great point. I think. Right. So disturbing presence is something that works even if your model's on the ground. Right. Disturbing presence under this system intuitively seems to be a passive skill. Yeah. Right. Whereas if I hypnogaze you, block and dodge are both active skills, right? And if you're on the ground, you can't use, if you roll both down and you've got Mighty Blow and your model gets put on the ground, you don't get to use Mighty Blow against the opposing piece if they also went to the ground at the same time, right? Mighty Blow is an active skill. And so, I think that's a logical conclusion. That's the one that makes sense to me. I'd love to see it specified at some point, but we'll know soon enough.
Yeah. Other updates that happened. They put an article out actually earlier today, recording some things with some quick changes. But do also want to talk about I think what has been the biggest announcement, which is in the positional changes.
Yes.
And how that's going to affect the way some teams are built. They do address that in this article that actually came out today a little bit, because it seems like teams that are losing things are going to be getting compensated in some way.
And compensated fairly.
Mm-hmm.
Right, because I think the fact that they mentioned Skaven in that article.
Yeah.
We knew about the Skaven blitzers getting faster and gaining strip ball. Crazy increase.
Yeah.
Gutter runners getting stabbed.
Yeah.
And they kind of had that before.
Mm-hmm.
It got taken away from them in actually in 2020, but they had Weeping Blade in the 2016 edition. And so, yeah, I mean, I think that's still... I mean, obviously, going from 2 to 4 is a gutter runner nerf. And that's another one of those where I think they're probably pricing gutter runners and blitzers to be really expensive. So that way it's going to be really hard to afford everything in your starting roster. You're going to have to pick and choose, right? You may only get one blitzer. You may only, you may have to like forego the Rat Ogre. Who knows?
Yeah. That's going to be, I think, the interesting part. I'm hoping. I think a lot of people looked at the announcement about the positionals and immediately used their current perception of the value of a player in looking at that and saying like, oh, I will get this much value kind of freed up for a roster. There's going to be some changes. And even in this article that came out today, they were talking about one that I've really been watching, personally invested, is Nurgle. Because that's just a team I played and I really enjoy it. And that's, to me, that was a team initially when I heard the news, that for me was like nightmare scenario.
Yeah.
Because thinking it through with the current roster, it's like I now have access to 2 players with agility 3 that can pick up a ball.
Yeah.
So that's terrifying.
Right. Yeah. So obviously, when they're making teams, they like making teams. So like Necro is a good example. Mm-hmm. Necro is a team where you only have a handful of people on the team that are even capable of moving the ball, right? You have players in the team who literally could not pick up the ball if they wanted to. And so Necro is like a really fun team to play defense with because it's really hard to dislodge that team, right? You can kind of get stuck in. And from what it looks like, Necro and Nurgle are going to have a lot of similarities because the bloaters apparently are getting cheaper and picking up stand firm, right? And that makes bloaters like one of the most annoying, probably the most annoying player in the game to throw a block against. If they keep foul appearance and they've got stand firm and there's 4 strength, it's like I gotta scrounge up some assists to throw this hit. There's a 1 in 6 chance that it doesn't work. When I hit you, I don't actually move the piece. I just drop it in the square that it's in, potentially. Yep. Now, I think for them to pick up stand firm, they probably have to pick up unsteady. And I've been chatting about that in the Discord with a lot of the people. Anyway, to me, that's logical, right? Yeah. The bloaters shouldn't really be the ball carriers on the team. I'm not saying a bloater should never have the ball, but they're speed 4, agility 4. Yeah. They're not your primary ball carriers. Yeah. If it's just a happy little accident if a bloater gets a ball.
Most of the time, if when I've played with Nurgle, if a bloater ends up with the ball, something is either gone comedically right or just tragically wrong. Like either like someone jumped in and knocked the ball out of a Pestigor's hand and it just bounced around, or I just happened to be there and knocked someone over and the ball bounced me and I got it. It's okay, that's fine. But yeah, I think state firm and foul appearance, if they keep both of those together, is going to be excellent because your counter to stand firm is, at least in current edition, probably not going away, is Juggernaut.
Yeah.
But Juggernaut only stops stand firm on a blitz, and do you really want to blitz a foul appearance piece?
Yeah. I mean, take it from me as somebody who blitzed a lot of foul appearance pieces in my lifetime. Sometimes you just have to.
Yeah.
And sometimes it just doesn't work out.
Yep.
It's kind of the thing, I'm just imagining these bloaters squaring up against opponents' big guys. Your opponents have to roll 2+ to activate, and then roll 2+ to actually throw the hit. Right. That's where I get nervous.
Yeah.
Having to throw hits like that, where you gotta succeed on 2 dice rolls to get through and get the damage in.
Yeah. Yeah, going down this list too, obviously we already touched on the Stab edition for Skaven.
Yeah.
That one's going to be interesting. I know some of the Stab sickos are in Discord are excited about that.
They've had their knives sharp for a long time.
Yep. A big one to me that I saw that was interesting, because it basically like there's just like each member of that studio that was working on like the Blood Bowl design, just kind of chose a team and gave some sort of highlight. Pump Wagons losing secret weapon.
I hope that portends a Snotling reckoning, because, as much as I've complained about the Savage Orc team, and as much as I've complained about various other aspects of the game, outside of bombers, I think the Snotling player is the player that I have complained about the most. The Snotling unit is simply too cheap, and it's too good for what you get. Snotlings, the Pump Wagon losing secret player implies to me that something might happen to the Snotling lineman. And if that's the case, those little green jerks deserve it. But the Pump Wagon, I think I've played against the Pump Wagon twice in my Blood Bowl career, and regardless of, you shouldn't have a model that is like a trick model on a team, right? You shouldn't have a model where your opponent puts it down and you think to yourself, I've already won the game, right? And the Snotling Pump Wagon was like the Dark Elf Assassin, where it was just a model that wasn't worth what you were paying for it. And the secret weapon really hurt that model. So, yeah, I'm hoping the Snotling players itself gets adjusted.
Yeah.
And it's fine for something like the Pump Wagon to get buffed. Stuff that literally saw no play. I think that's fine. I don't have a problem with that at all.
Yeah. I'm interested. I think like the Pump Wagon's interesting. Obviously, it's like mini Death Roller.
Yeah.
But the thing was, it's like when you look at what else, like a Pump Wagon could just be a bomber and a bribe.
Yeah. And the bomber and the bribe are going to go way farther than the Pump Wagon is.
Yeah.
Right. And you don't have to roll to activate the bomber. Right.
Yeah.
You have to make a successful throw, but with the Pump Wagon, it was really stupid. So there are a lot of times it would just not do the thing that it wanted, right? And depending on who you're playing against, like if you secret weapons, I love them from like a balanced decision, because it changes the flow of the game. And so like if my opponent's got like some Pump Wagons on the field, I'm incentivized to just put the ball in and force them to use their bribes immediately, right? And the Pump Wagon's really slow. I think it was like speed 4. It was just like a worse troll.
Yeah. That
then also got kicked out.
And can't throw.
And can't throw a teammate.
So.
Yeah. So like what's happening here? It's just like a head scratching model on that team.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting to see where it ends up. So you mentioned Dark Elf Assassins a second ago. Obviously, they got mentioned. Their assassins are getting hit and run.
Yeah.
Hit and run is going to work with stab now.
Yep.
Which at least gives you some separation.
Yeah. It also implies that you could maybe get hit and run to work with chainsaws. Unless chainsaws still work in a way where you have to end your movement.
Right.
I don't know. And it's possible chainsaws get an exception. Chainsaws, I find both stab and chainsaws are both things that I feel are perfectly balanced the way they are right now in the game. I actually don't think I have a problem with hit and run being able to work with stab, because I think it's just like an interesting tactical element.
Yeah.
Right. And straight armor rolls. Like, the thing about stab is, like, if you're throwing your whole activation and you roll that stab and you just whiff,
Yeah.
things go badly for the person who's trying to throw that stab.
Very true.
Hit and run gets to change that arithmetic a little bit.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I'm kind of interested in seeing if there's going to be a strategy with Dark Elf rosters now where it's like you put assassins, like on offense, you put assassins on the line because you can that's like a free dodge essentially. But I think that'll still be balanced.
I think so. Right. I mean, the thing with elves a lot of times is throwing the hits is kind of a mistake because you're trading your optimal positioning for, like a 6% chance to take an opposing player off the pitch or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So the Dark Elf assassins just being able to like stab and then scoot back a square. You could make they're still the most frail people on the team, so I don't necessarily think you want them in the place where they're the ones to be blitzed. So while I think the Dark Elf assassin's going to improve quite a bit, they're still going to be fragile.
Other schools have said they're adding punt to the runners, which we don't have the full text for.
Yeah.
But that will be interesting. I don't know really what to expect from that at this point.
I think there are some teams who have been waiting their whole career for punt.
Yeah.
And I will see what that looks like once we actually get teams with the new addition onto the table.
Yeah.
But I suspect, like, punt on Wood Elves, punt on Skaven.
Yeah.
A lot of those teams. Fumble Rooski was a skill that we've talked about occasionally.
Yeah.
And on paper, Fumble Rooski is a skill that I think allows you to do some really crazy stuff. And punt now is one of those as well, where just drilling the ball a couple squares away from the opponent's goal line, and then beating them in a foot race back there, is like that's viable.
Yeah, I'd be interested in. So if I had to make a guess on what I would want for this, is it's like a skill where you can like. You have the ball, so it's almost like a pass, but instead of you can't do quick or short. It has to be like long.
It sounds like
you have to like kind of bounce it up over.
Yeah.
And then it like goes from there.
Right. You might have a no interception chance on it, right? Because you kick the ball into the sky.
Yeah.
And it might be like Hail Mary pass where the ball automatically deviates, right? Because that's the way punts are in the NFL.
Yeah.
In college football, you can't really control where they're going to land. We'll see what that looks like, right? It might just be better Hail Mary pass. So.
Yeah. Up next on this article, so we had... So I'm talking about the Norse team.
Yeah.
Mentioning the hatred traits. And I think this has shown up on a couple different star players.
Yes.
But we don't really have an idea of what that is yet. So.
Right. So hatred is a GW mechanic from years past. You had Necromunda and I think maybe like Gorka Morka, and hatred I think was like a skill in Warhammer Fantasy Battles, and it translated into like re-rolls on attack rolls, something along those lines. This could be like Mighty Blow versus that. It could be, there's, and it mentioned in a league, right?
Yeah.
Like that particular thing said your players could gain that in a league, and that's a really interesting thing where your players have like a reactive to the league that you're playing in bonus. It's difficult to plan around that necessarily, but that certainly changes the dynamic for league play if you can like devote something to my team is now better against this type of team.
Especially in like leagues like ours that tend to have, for most seasons, have like a team that shows up a couple of times.
Yeah.
Like usually there's like one team that people kind of gravitate towards for a season. Like say for this next season, a bunch of people playing Bretonians. If you all of a sudden you get hatred for Bretonians.
Yeah, it's going to be put in some work.
Yeah.
Yeah, 25% of your games are going to be against Bretonians or whatever.
Yeah. Okay. I think that's... So the last one was talking just more about Bretonians, the last person in design. They already talked a good amount about that, and they were talking more about advancement than the base skills, because the base skills are already just absurd.
Yeah.
But we have gotten star players we can talk about, and I have these. These are not quite the order they were released in, I believe. But the Warhammer page on Facebook has been putting them out like 2 a day. So we've been getting some of these. And the first one I have pulled up is Varag. Coming in, getting a slight discount.
Mm-hmm.
And he has the hatred ability, hatred undead.
Yeah.
So more speculation.
He's earning the name Ghoul Chewer there, right?
Yeah. Another thing to definitely point out for this card specifically is Mighty Blow. That's it.
Yeah.
No +1.
Yes. Mighty Blow. Nothing additional there, right?
Mm-hmm.
That kind of if that foretells the end of Mighty Blow +2, see you at the crossroads. Good. Yeah. Don't let the door hit you in the ass on the way out, right? Like the thing, as somebody who's on the receiving end of a lot of Mighty Blow +2, I'm not sad to see it go.
Mm-hmm.
It screws up the whole bell curve of injury and whatnot. So
yeah. So Varag does have the unsteady trait, so he won't be able to secure the ball.
Still agility 3+.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of teams that were using him would be fine for him to continue to go pick up the ball on a 3. Plus, he's scooting around the field anyway. He's still speed 6.
Yeah.
And that's the thing with the Norse lineman. I'm guessing because in the previous article, the Norse player talked about how secure the ball would let him go pick up the ball with his Valkyries or Berserkers on a 2 or better. Mm-hmm. Doesn't mention Norse lineman by name, right? That's one of those read what's missing here, right?
Right.
So if unsteady is a penalty to go for it, Varag is still very mobile because of jump up and the 6 speed. So he doesn't get like the freebie ball pickup, but he's still plenty fast and still plenty bruising, and is once per game changed for the better, in my opinion.
Yep. Now it is once per game when an opposition player is knocked down as a result of a block action performed by Varag, he may re-roll the armor roll.
Yeah, that's pretty good, and I would probably just pop that immediately. First failed armor roll. Like, the best case scenario for Varag is you never get to use his once per game because you broke armor automatically on whoever you hit.
Yeah.
You're just like, oh, I never got to use his once per game because he broke armor on every single model that he hit. Oh, I didn't get full value for him. Right?
Yeah.
So, that's just really good.
Yeah. I next had Anky Panky. New card.
Also unsteady.
Yeah, actually, and I think part of this too kind of lends towards kind of what my read on some of this was. Anky Panky didn't change, like, value-wise or, like, anything on the card. So I think that's similar. We were obviously talking when, previous things when they had that whole Monstrous Mouth thing that, like, Guffle Pussmaw was designed with this rule update in mind.
Yes, and I think a logical conclusion is that Chaos Dwarves were designed with this new addition in mind, right? There's probably going to be some minor additions just based off of some random stuff that's been leaked here and there. But beyond that, like, all of the rules changes compared to the Chaos Dwarf roster, say, oh, we've had this in the works for a while. Here's the team.
Yeah.
If you were wondering why they looked so bad, it's because they were designed with a new team in mind. Anky Panky, I think, was aggressively costed, right? If Dribble and Drool weren't so busted, you might actually see some Anky Panky out there. He's just aggressively statted.
Yeah.
Like 4 strength, 7 speed, 10 armor for 190.
Yeah.
Block.
Awesome. Yeah.
Like, he's good.
Yeah, he's great.
He's going to be good.
Yeah, the one time I played him, he was excellent for me. So, and I think hopefully you see some more play coming up. So, yeah, the only change that happened was unsteady, but obviously they wouldn't just put that on something.
Yeah.
And
without the rules for it existing. Yeah.
Up next, we had Rumbelow, everyone's favorite Stunty Slayer. Rumbelow has gotten some changes.
Yeah, he picked up some hands.
Yeah, yes. Turns out Rumbelow got hands.
I'm going to dodge away from this ram.
Yeah.
Dang, Ram's got hands.
Yeah. Other thing being that he plays for Halfling Thimble Cup, not Old World Classic.
Yeah, and so it seems like Griff with Halflings, those days may be over. Mm-hmm. And it seems like the days of star players just playing for whoever might just be over.
Yeah, which I'd be happy with.
If star players get cheaper and who they play for gets narrower, I think I'm fine with that. Mm-hmm. I think I am.
I think the universal star player experience is like my Mighty Blow +2.
Yeah.
Like the fact that
you're like, I play against dwarves, they've got Griff. I play against halflings, they've got Griff.
Yeah.
I play against humans, they've got Griff.
Or it's like you could play against, goblins, snotlings, black orcs, Skaven, and orcs, and all of them can take bomber. That's just a step too far.
Yeah.
But speaking of players maybe not getting cheaper, we had Cindy, who did keep Old World Classic, but is now 100,000.
So. Yeah, 100,000 is a crazy bonus. Like, that's a crazy thing to add to Cindy. However, I think it is fair.
Yes, I fully agree.
And that might even presage Bomber costing even more than her. Right? Like, Bomber might be 110, 120.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of teams would still take him. Mm-hmm. But at 50, he's way too cheap. So
yes, 100%. I've actually had Skitter get shown.
Basically the same, right?
Yeah, big thing, does not play for favorite of teams anymore, so my Nurgle dreams of having Nurgle plus Skitter is gone.
That's fine. I think that the Chaos teams were, in my opinion, they were too noble for these low-down gutter runners.
I'll take all the help I can get. I'm playing a bunch of people who have move 4 and agility 4. Give me something. Like, even with Skitter added, I could add Skitter to the field alongside the rest of my team, and the average movement and agility is still going to be worse than most teams you ever go up against.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, obviously, yeah. Another thing I will say on these cards real quick as we've been going through them is they are adding the sort of positional and race types on the bottom. So, like, example, Skitter's a runner.
Yeah.
There's the bomber. Like, Cindy's a special.
Yeah. So I think that, what we've seen for the most part, that seems to apply to hatred. Mm-hmm. More so than anything else.
Yeah.
Right? Like, because the two hatreds that we've seen are hatred big guy on Grim Ironjaw and hatred undead.
Yeah.
So I think it's likely that, and I'm sure Ivan the Terrible is going to be the same way, right? Like, he'll probably have hatred dwarves.
Yeah.
And so, I think that's fine templating. Mm-hmm. I don't have a problem with that. I could see potentially this would be a drastic change, but if star players take up a roster slot of whatever position they are on your team, that could have some like major downstream consequences for a lot of teams.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that's necessarily the case. Once again, this is a lot of this is just speculation, but there's the only reason to give those tags is for it to apply in some kind of way. So
next we got Acorn. Acorn really didn't change. No hands is now no ball.
Yeah.
Which I think makes sense because no hands plus claws is kind of a interesting combination of skills to have on a player, just from a flavor perspective.
Yeah.
Then we got some newer ones. I think these were released today. So we had Jeremiah Cool.
Yes.
Got a little bit of a discount here.
Yeah, it's still basically the same, but is cheaper.
Yeah. And then we got Ripper.
Ripper got buffed.
Yeah.
So Ripper cost the same, but Ripper got a movement speed and picked up a skill. Now Ripper was doing some crazy work for me in We Warriors. I was very pleasantly surprised by how good Ripper was. So I'm a fan of Ripper. I think he was like the Cadillac of throw teammate in the past. Maybe Deep Root is probably the best one, but Deep Root's like speed 2. The thing with movement increase is the movement increase is a throw teammate buff. Right, because that means you can move farther and then go throw teammate. And so Bullseye is a skill that we had spoiled, and that's like when the throw is superb, then the player does not scatter. And that is crazy. So.
Yeah. That's going to think it'd be... Yeah, that's interesting. I do like Ripper. I've not gotten to play with him, but I played against him, and he's like definitely really good at throwing stuff. So seeing how that plays out, I think is going to be...
The 6 strength is the huge part, right?
Yeah.
A lot of models in the 200K range don't come with 6 strength.
Yeah.
That right there just makes him so, like, your opponent's just got to find some stuff to get some assists to try to even knock him over. And then he's armor 10, and then he's got regenerate on top of all of that. So I had him get fouled out of the game in Game 3 of We Warriors, and he regenerated. He was right back in the game. It was like, sorry, you missed me.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing with, like... I think the thing with Ripper, I think, is that kind of leads a lot of people to probably not be as hype on him is, like, he doesn't have any offensive skills, like, outside of Mighty Blow. He doesn't have Brawler. He doesn't have Block.
He's not even throwing up on people. He's not even projectile vomiting on them.
Yeah. He's too smart for that. He's too cool.
Yeah.
But, like, I think that's, like, understanding is, like, he is not there to... like be he's not there to be a Varag or like a Morg or something like that.
He's not particularly mobile, but he does have a good footprint on the board because of grab.
Yeah.
Right. I was using him as like a bodyguard or a vanguard for a lot of my stuff, and the grab is a very good skill if your game plan is foul heavy.
Right.
Because it lets you move a model into a place where you can get additional assists. And so, yeah, I mean, Ripper, it also ignores sidestep, which was really useful in We Warriors because he got around snotlings, because there were a lot of snotlings. So, yeah, the grab's got a lot of utility. You know, it's not like a go-to for a lot of teams early, or even late in the season. A lot of models that don't start with it don't ever really get to take it.
Yeah.
But grab it's one of those where, like, I always liked grab on shambling mummies. Once you got block and guard on them, always liked grab because that meant you could keep pulling the models back inside your line.
Right.
And so a lot of the dodging teams can't get away from you, right?
Yeah.
You pull them back and then a zombie steps on them.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, those are the new star players we've gotten since. I'm sure we'll have a whole slew of extra ones.
Luther was in the mix somewhere, wasn't he?
Oh, Luther. I did not grab Luther's card.
Yeah, I think Luther's somewhere in here. Let's go find him real fast. Luther and someone else.
Let me see.
Because I remember Luther got cheaper.
Which is huge already by itself.
Yes. Yeah, Luther costing 40K less is bonkers. Yeah, Rodney and Luther.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Rodney's thing, the thing that stands out for me is that he plays for the Woodland League.
Which is not the Halfling Thimble Cup, which is what the Gnomes currently play for.
Yeah. And we haven't seen like any actual team rosters confirmed to see like what special rules are going to have.
Like I said, there is a leaked roster running around that might be legit, but I hesitate to base our entire podcast off of a random screenshot of a page of a book on Facebook, right? Like that's not how we do business here. We have higher standards than this.
Right. So yeah, and Luther. So I think Luther also, the fact that he changed value, probably might be sort of like an indicator of where we're going to start to see changes. Because that, like, originally my thought process on like roster updates was like, I was like, maybe vampires aren't going to be like super affected by these updates. Like maybe that was like where the design kind of was already shifting towards a new edition. But the fact that Luther's value, like price changed, leads me to think that maybe we are going to see like a rebalance in there somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, I think you could rebalance vampires by changing the way hypnotic gaze works. Just like if hypno gaze doesn't automatically work on a 2 with no tackle zones, then vampires get reined in quite a bit.
Right.
You know, I think losing that 1 in 6 chance does a lot to bring their power level back down to earth, especially in league play. But Luther getting cheaper is funny. If Tomb Kings get more expensive, that means you could still have the Tomb Kings plus Luther list, right? If they get more expensive, but I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. Whole lot of speculating still to go. By next week, we'll probably have some more things to talk about on this way, and maybe some games.
Yeah, we may. It depends on the exact timing of things, because a lot of times Games Workshop gets stuff to stores sooner. But you can bank on me and you and Wayne and several of the other employees, as soon as that Blood Bowl stuff gets here, that we are cracking it open and we are taking screenshots and posting it in the Discord.
In Minecraft.
No, it's just we're not selling it. We're not selling it. We can't sell it before November 15th.
Yeah.
But we'll know what's in that book for sure.
Yeah. Well, I think that'll probably do it for us today from the Anonymous Podcast. I am John Smith here with John Smith. It's been fun talking to you today, John.
I appreciate it, John.
Yeah, if you're Games Workshop Legal listening to this, my name is Shane Beamer. I am the head coach of the University of South Carolina. You can redirect any sort of legal complaints there. But thank you for listening. Obviously we're going through all this stuff right now. If you got questions, feel free to ping us in the Discord or leave a comment wherever you're listening. Make sure you're liking, sharing, subscribing. Tell everybody to listen, even if they never, maybe now's the time they want to get in. Yeah. Maybe this is the catalyst they need.
A lot of people are expressing interest recently. I've given out a good chunk of demos over the last month. Blood Bowl is always looking for more people. So
jump in. Obviously, like we said, next league is going to be starting probably Black Friday weekend.
Yeah, that's the current plan, hopefully. Obviously pay attention to the Discord, and we'll do our best to keep everybody up to date.
Yeah. Tour play willing. So, if you're not throwing money at us in some form or fashion, throw money at Torplay to help them do their job more quickly and efficiently. Even though we appreciate immensely the app that we already have. So, yep. Catch y'all next week with some more Blood Bowl action.
Goodbye, everybody.